Well, it was, Susan, certainly a sort of a less entertaining debate in Miami between Donald Trump and the other candidates, and a little bit more policy in this debate, policy discussion than we've seen in previous debates.
Well, they've succeeded in lowering the bar to the extent that this is what we're now calling a policy debate. Uh, you're seeing a couple things happen right now, right? Obviously, Trump is sitting on a lead. He doesn't want to blow it. You've seen over the last several debates, in fact, that he's become somewhat more conservative as a result of that. He's also pivoting to the general, it seems to me, in the effort to make himself appear more like a credible president and not just a credible candidate in a Republican primary. So I think that's driving things. But, the inexorability of two things, that calendar and the math are starting to kick in. And when you look at the math and you look at the calendar, it seems that Donald Trump is sitting on a lead that, if this point, is not completely 100% overwhelming and in the bag, it is very clear that he has the only realistic path left to the Republican nomination.
And it was interesting, Susan, what Ben Carson said this morning in endorsing Donald Trump. He didn't really talk so much about Trump's position on anything or his personality. What he said is that he objected to the Republican Party establishment trying to thwart the will of the people. That I thought was an interesting way to frame that endorsement, because he's basically saying, look, and he actually said explicitly that if you try to block Donald Trump, you're going to destroy the Republican Party. And that probably is an argument that might resonate.
I do think that increasingly, of course, that is the signaling coming from Trump and all of his allies, which is no to a brokered convention, no to a contested convention. You, Republican establishment, may be unhappy with the results, but the people have spoken, and that, of course, is going to be the argument that they make over and over again. I think it is a very compelling one, and I've always been very skeptical that Trump, if he amasses the required 1,237 delegates needed for the nomination, then that's it. Period. I think that there's just an overwhelming tradition in American politics that if you win the primaries, you win the caucuses, no matter how problematic that may be, you're very likely to come away with the nomination. Now, how divided will the Republican Party be in the wake of that? Perhaps a better analogy here is to think about times when we've had deeply disrupted or divided parties as opposed to one in which the outcome of the voting is overturned. Look at how Ted Kennedy went all the way to the convention in 1980 against President Carter. He wasn't going to take the nomination away from him, but the party was deeply divided in ways that clearly did affect Carter's ability to challenge Ronald Reagan in the fall of 1980.
There are a lot of variations on this question.